Hello and welcome to the Have You Seen podcast, brought to you by Dave on Film. I'm Dave, and this is my extra episode where we'll have a weekly Wednesday roundup of the UK box office top 10, as well as stuff that I've been watching during the week. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer for this first weekly roundup. I've not been able to watch many of the current films in the top 10, but I am aiming to get to the cinema much more often now so I can bring you more of my views. With that being said, let's have a look at the charts. At number 10 is Begonia. It's been in the charts now for 3 weeks, but it's dropping quite rapidly. It's a brand new film from Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Emma Stone, surprise, surprise, and Jesse Plemons. I'm planning on seeing. I'm probably going to get to see it this week sometime. I am a fan of Yorgos Lanthimos and his back catalogue. I love Poor Things, The Favourite, Killing of a Sacred Deer, Lobster. They're all a bit weird, but I really enjoy them. So I'm actually really looking forward to seeing Begonia and seeing what it's like and seeing if it stands up against his previous films. At number 9 is A Paw Patrol Christmas. So this is the second week in the top 10, taking a steady $250,000, which is not bad at all. I've not seen this yet, but I actually might give this one a watch. I love Paw Patrol. I watched it when my little one were younger, used to watch it all the time. And I went to the cinema to see the last Paw Patrol film. And this time, apparently, Santa's fallen ill and Mayor Humdinger's trying to steal everyone's presents. And it'll be up to Ryder and his team of pups to come and save the day. I think I might give this a watch. I might see if my daughter wants to go see it. If not, it might look a little bit weird if I'm sat watching Paw Patrol on my own. At number 8 is Regretting You. Now, this has been in the top 10 for 4 weeks now, making it the longest running film in this week's chart. I've not seen this one, and in all honesty, I'm probably going to let it pass me by. I'll let you judge for yourself. It's from the author of It Ends With Us and the director of The Fault in Our Stars, so you can probably kind of guess what kind of film it's going to be. Now, I might see it because I do like a good cry, but if any of you have actually watched Regretting You at the cinema, drop us a line and drop us a message, comment underneath this podcast, let us know what you think, and I'll read out some of your comments if it's still in next week's top 10. At number 7 is another Christmas film. It's Christmas Karma. And it's the first week in the charts, but it's taken less than $500,000. I would say that this Christmas film, starring Danny Dyer, Kunal Nair, and Boy George, probably isn't going to stay around in the charts for too long. It's a retelling of a Christmas Carol, and by all accounts, it's really terrible. If you've seen it, though, some of you might take your kids to see it. Let me know. Is it any good? Is it funny? It looks like it's probably trying to be funny in that Danny Dyer way, but we'll see. I think Danny Dyer's got like 3 films out this Christmas, but more on one of those probably in a few weeks' time, and I'll go into that one in a little bit more detail down the line. At number 6 this week is The Choral. Now, this has been in the charts for a couple of weeks now, and it's Ralph Fiennes, and it's set during World War One. And all the male adults have kind of gone to war, and it's up to him to continue his choir by recruiting teenagers, but obviously they're getting conscripted, so there's problems involved in that. Another one I've not seen, it's flown under the radar a little bit, didn't know much about it, so I've not had a chance to kind of study what it's about. I've not even seen a trailer for it, I don't think. So I might give the trailer a watch, see if it's worth a visit to the cinema to see it, and I will report back. At number 5 is a Japanese anime called Jujutsu Kaisen Execution. Now, this is the first week in the charts, and it's gone straight in at number 5. I've not seen anything of Jujutsu Kaisen previously, so I don't know anything about it. So if any of you actually do know about this, feel free to comment and write in, and I'll read out what you've said, because it's interesting to find out how people are taking it, if it's worthy of a big screen adaptation, if it is an anime, a weekly TV show anime. So let me know and I'll read out some of your comments. At number 4, and the first week in the charts for Nuremberg, which is the new Michael Shannon and Russell Crowe film, which is delving into the evil minds of Nazi leaders before the Nuremberg trials. Again, another one I'd not even heard of. I feel like I've been out of the loop with new releases. So I'd not even heard of this film before I did this top 10. And so I'm going to actually attempt to go see it because it does sound quite interesting. It's all about a psychoanalyst talking to Nazi leaders before the Nuremberg trials. So it should be quite an interesting watch, and then it'll be one that I start Googling afterwards and seeing how much of it's real and how much of it made up for a film. But yeah, I think I might get to see that if I get a chance this week, and I will come back to you. I might put it in the comments first of all when I do see it, but be sure to check out my blog as well, daveonfilm.co.uk. There I review films as I watch them, hopefully. And on my letterboxd page as well, but I'll put all the links in the post for this. At number 3, so now this is the last one that I've not seen in the top 10, so I can actually give insights into the other ones. At number 3 in the charts, and the second week in the charts, is Predator Badlands. There's a new Predator film out, and it's all about an outcast predator who finds an unlikely ally in Elle Fanning. Again, I've not seen it. I do quite like the Predator films though, so I'm probably going to try and get to see this. I have got the poster for it here, which I picked up at the cinema, and I have seen a trailer and it does look good fun. And like I said, I do like a Predator film, so I might get to go see this one. So at number 2 in the charts, and the first week in the charts, just missing out on the top spot by only $800, is The Running Man. Now, I saw The Running Man the night before it was released, and I've been looking forward to it for some time. I love the original Arnie film. It's a total blast of cheesy goodness. And I was shocked when I went back and read the original Stephen King book. Even it was written under his pseudonym Richard Bachman. But I was really intrigued as to how far away from the source material the original film was. So when the trailer came out for The Running Man, the new version, and it was Edgar Wright directing it, I thought, this is great because they're definitely doing a faithful adaptation to the book, and that's almost exactly what we get here. So the film's got Ben Richards meeting all the right people on his quest to escape. So effectively, Ben Richards, he's down on his luck. He needs money for medication for his child. It's a dystopian future. The only way to get money really is because he's lost all his jobs and he's been blacklisted. So he joins the corporation, the network, run a lot of game shows where you can win money, and he goes to try and get into some of the lesser ones. But because of his anger issues, he gets roped into The Running Man, which is effectively you go on the run for 30 days, you avoid capture. For every day you avoid capture, you earn more money. But the general public can find you. They can shop you to the authorities, and if they catch you, they earn money. So people are out to get you. They want money. You want money. It's now, I don't want to go into Spoilerville. But I've read the book. I've seen the original film and I've read the book. Now the book, I'll say, it's completely different, and I loved the ending in the book. And like I said, I'm not going to go into spoilers here. But recently, I also want to say that The Long Walk that came out recently, which was adapted from another book in the same collection of Bachman books, they did a great adaptation of that and then changed the ending at the last minute, and it kind of ruined it for me. Unfortunately, they've done the same with The Running Man, and when I came out of the cinema, I felt a little bit deflated, and it almost felt like that they'd filmed the original book ending and then test screened it to an audience of either public audience or the execs, and then they've been told, nope, can't do that ending, you need to change it. And the ending seems a little bit cobbled together, and it just feels rushed, and it just ruined it for me. And I know we need to keep in mind that it's not the book and it's just a movie, and anybody who goes to see it without reading the book won't get that change. But it just felt such a swerve at the end, and it made me feel a little bit disappointed in a film that could have been brilliant if it had just stuck to the source material for 10 more minutes. And number 1 in the charts this week is Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Now, it just narrowly said, as I said with Running Man, it narrowly beat Running Man by $800, which is so close. Now You See Me is the third in the series, so the Four Horsemen are back along with some new friends. So this is like a second sequel. I refuse to say threequel because I think it's an awful phrase. The original came out in 2013. Back then we saw Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Isla Fisher and Dave Franco's characters all kind of being brought together by an unknown group called the Eye in order to foil the dastardly deeds of people who were doing wrong things to good people. And then in 2016, we got the first sequel where Isla Fisher left and she was replaced by Lizzie Kaplan because Isla Fisher was pregnant in real life, so she couldn't film, so they replaced her in the film. And again, another one, the really good heist films. If you like a heist film, you will like the Now You See Me films. So now in 2025, there's more criminals to be foiled. And there's only one way you can get knocked down a peg or two, and that's by getting a load of magicians to do the job. So Isla Fisher's back now. We get a story of how Lizzie Kaplan's character's fallen out with Dave Franco's character. So she's no longer in the picture. So Isla Fisher's back in. But this time they're joined by 3 newcomers played by Ariana Greenblatt, Dominic Sessa and Justice Smith, who are kind of riding on the coattails of the Four Horsemen to pull a fast one on some wrong-uns. They're kind of conning people out of money. And when the original group, who we knew from before, receive cards from the Eye and get advised to bring the 3 newbies into the fold, we start to kind of unravel a tale of corruption and war crimes with Rosamund Pike playing Veronica Vanderberg, who's kind of at the centre of everything. She's using the power she's got. She owns the Hope Diamond, which is worth so much money, and she's using that to kind of extort money and control criminals that way. And that's it. That's the setup for kind of another fun outing that's filled with action, magic, twists, turns. It's got everything that the previous films have got in them. There's plenty of magic on screen to keep you entertained, even though if sometimes the things they do don't quite come across as well on film as they would if you had like a real magician sat in front of you doing it. I also feel like sometimes in these films there's a little bit too much CGI in place of the practical effects, which would have just made it feel a little bit more authentic. For example, in the second film, there's a moment where Jesse Eisenberg's character kind of falls backwards and like splashes into a puddle and just disappears. And it's like, well, he's not disappeared, has he? We know he's not disappeared. It needs to have been done. He needs to have done something practically, but it's done as if he actually has disappeared. And it's like, no, let's see how he actually did it. But I thought Now You See Me, Now Me Don't. Start again. But I thought Now You See Me, Now You Don't was a really well constructed film. It was good to see Isla Fisher back, and the 3 new characters really bring something fun to the film. Ariana Greenblatt's a bundle of energy. She was great to see on screen. It was almost like she was channeling the character that she played in Borderlands at times, Tiny Tina from Borderlands. Dominic Sessa brought some really good dry comedy to the part, and his back and forth with Jesse Eisenberg really works. And Justice Smith is kind of the brains of the group, and he's really good as Charlie, and he's quite pivotal to the main story of the film. There's some great set pieces in there. In particular, there's one scene that takes place in what can only kind of be described as an illusion house. There's all multiple rooms where the characters are fighting off a group of police who are trying to capture them. They've got rotating rooms, there's mirror mazes, and like a one of those false perspective rooms where it looks like somebody's big and somebody's small, and if they move to the different side of the rooms, they swap, and they look big and they look small. It's got there's a good fight scene in that room as well that's really well done. There's some really silly moments and unbelievable things happen, but it's one of those films, if you can just remove your brain for a little bit, it's a fun heist film, and the enjoyment levels are really ramped up in this. So that is your number 1 in the top 10 this week. So I'm just going to run through a couple of other things I've watched in the last 7 days. Earlier on this week, I watched the recent 2025 film starring Keanu Reeves, Good Fortune. So that's Keanu Reeves, who plays Gabriel, who's an angel of texting and driving, who attempts to show Aziz Ansari's Aj that having all the wealth in the world, like Jeff, played by Seth Rogen in the film, has, will just make him miserable. But the problem is, it doesn't. And it solves all his problems and makes him happy. But it's up to Gabriel to make Aj realise that he wants to go back to his old life. Otherwise, he'll lose his wings and all that. So it's a fun film. It's got a fair few laughs and life lessons and things like that. So I gave it a good, decent 4 stars from me. And good fortune. It's still available to see in some select cinemas. It is dropping out of them all now, but it's not going to be long before it's on streaming. I also saw quite a small independent film called Anemone. Anemone? I can't even spell it. It's Anemone. Anemone, which is the flower, not the thing that you find in the sea. They're an anemone. This is an anemone. I'm leaving this in. It's an anemone. There we are. It doesn't matter what it's called. Basically, it's the new Daniel Day-Lewis film, and it's directed by his son, Ronan, and it also stars Sean Bean. And Sean Bean's Jem, a man who kind of heads out into the woods. It's all set in northern England, in a bit of an undisclosed location. And he goes out to find his estranged brother, Ray, who's been hiding out away from his family after some previous trauma from something that's happened in the past. There's a confrontation between them both, and kind of revelations about everything that happened as they try and unravel it all, and they go through the emotions whilst they're trying to reconnect. I really like this one. It's a film. It's all about family and emotions and trauma. And Daniel Day-Lewis, as ever, puts in a really incredible performance under the direction of his own son. Sean Bean's great as well. It's just allowing Sean Bean to just be Sean Bean, which is great. So yeah, I gave this one 4 stars as well. It could have very, very easily been a 5-star film. I'm not quite sure what it needed to get to 5 stars. But yeah, that's in cinemas now and is well worth a watch. Although, saying that, you would probably get the same enjoyment from this film from watching it when it comes out on streaming and watching it at home. So it's up to you. I give it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. That's Anemone. And the other film that I watched this week is the 1991 horror classic, The People Under the Stairs. So this is a Wes Craven horror starring Ving Rhames, and he basically, Ving Rhames helps a young lad break into his landlord's house. Him and his mum are getting evicted, and the landlords are being dicks, basically. And when he breaks into his house, he discovers a young girl who's been held captive by her parents, who are really weird. Like the guy from the house runs around in a gimp mask and full gimp suit and a shotgun, shooting holes at walls. But find the young girl, she's been held captive, and in the basement and living in the walls of the house, there's a lot of mutilated boys. So that have been captured previously. It's classed as a dark comedy horror. I watched this when I was a lot younger, and I've always really liked it, but it's been a lot of years since I saw it. So it was great to revisit it and get back into that madhouse all over again and just reminisce the sweet family bliss of the father of the house running around head to toe in a gimp suit trying to shoot mutilated boys who are living in the walls. So there you go. I have also seen the first 2 Now You See Me films as well, but I won't go through them. I watched them in preparation for seeing the 3rd one at the cinema. So yeah, it's been a fun week of film. There's loads coming up as well. So looking ahead to the films that are coming out in the cinema this week, let's be honest, there's probably only 1 or 2 that are really going to make an impact. So first of all, a smaller film called The Carpenter's Son, which is due out on Friday the 21st of November, starring Nicolas Cage. And from what I can gather from the trailer, it looks like he's playing Jesus. Why not? It's Nicolas Cage. There'll probably be complaints about it. We've also got a small film coming out, a musical coming out called Wicked for Good, which I think might make a little bit of an impact on the top 10 next week. So I think I might have to go see that. So this is the hotly anticipated sequel to Wicked. So Wicked for Good is the second part. It's effectively the second act of the stage show. So if you've seen the stage show, you probably know what's going to happen. And you also, if you've seen the trailer and know what's going to happen, you'll see that certain things do happen. So they are that's the main big release this week. Coming out next Wednesday, though, there is the new Knives Out film coming out. But that's next Wednesday, so I'll cover that in next week's because I might have been able to see it before I do this review. So there we go. That is my Wednesday weekly roundup of the top 10 in the UK box office and the films that I've been watching. What have you been watching? Let me know what you've been watching this week, and I'll read some of them out on next week's Wednesday roundup. Just comment below this podcast. Send an email to me. The email address should be in the podcast details. You can get me on all the social media. Just drop me a line. Let me know what you think. And hopefully I can be reading out your comments next week. Thanks very much. I've been Dave, and this has been the Have You Seen podcast.